Welcome to a very special edition of Inside History. My name is James Green, and I'll be your host for today. And we're going to be celebrating Black History Month and some of our Black pioneers in Palm Beach County. So today we're joined by the very first Black judge, Judge Edward Rodgers. Welcome, Judge Rodgers.
Thank you.
So I see you quite a bit in the community. You're still very active and engaged in community events. And you've done so much for this community. We stand on the shoulders of people like yourself, and so I'm so honored to be here with you today. But from your opinion, what is the greatest achievement that you, as the first Black judge in Palm Beach County, that you share, that you would like to share with us today?
I was concerned about the number of people who were suffering from drug addiction in Palm Beach County, and we had drug addiction treatment centers or hearings within the court, but you had to come to court on certain days that the courts were open, and within certain hours that the court was open, and in my opinion, that service just was not adequate.
Right.
So I decided to start a separate drug court on the weekends with the same facilities of the drug court, but offering easier service. And my idea was, there's no point in putting people in jail and giving them an arrest record, because Lord knows the arrest records were killing, and still are, killing our young people.
Absolutely.
So my idea was, we had a statute that said you could put people, you could incarcerate people who needed help.
Right.
Mental health people who had lost the ability to take care of themselves and were maybe a danger to others. Or if they were being so abusive that they were harming themselves or somebody else. So, but we never had one for drugs.
Right.
And we placed drug dealers or drug users out of that category. They were just bad people doing something they really could stop.
Right.
But they were just no good people. And the unique thing about that interpretation, they were just bad, no good people until it was their kids. And when it was their kids, it would just became students who were, people who were having a little problem.
Yeah.
Really good people.
Right.
But just had a little bad luck here. So I was able, with that Saturday court, to take a person from the gutter to treatment inside of 2 hours. Whereas in the past, before that, it took 2 or 3 treatments in the courthouse, 2 or 3 weeks, and a lot of times, by that time, we had lost the person.
Wow.
He or she had done something that was so bad it just took them right out of the arena of being helped. But with the civil court, you don't have to do anything wrong. You don't have to shoot anybody or anything like that. If your parents or one person in your family or 3 citizens came into court and swore that you were having problems and you were being abusive and you had lost the ability to take care of yourself and respect your fellow people, then we could have a hearing. I could have the hearing on Saturday morning, and I could have, if they said no, they didn't do that, then I had a full hearing. I would say, well, bring in some witnesses to tell me that you've observed these things, and they have observed those things. Then, if I concluded that they were in need of help, then I had the authority to require them to go to the treatment center for help. And I had a physician and specialist from the treatment center who had volunteered.
Wow.
Who had volunteered to assist in that. And so they would have the examination. In other words, we mixed it up right in the sink there. And within a half an hour or an hour, I was through with the hearing, and I've said, well, Mr. Green, the treatment people are recommending that you have inpatient treatment. And you're fortunate because we have several agencies that have volunteered to take you in the treatment center and treat you without any cost to you. And the problem is, though, you have to stay there for the period of treatment.
Right.
If you leave the program voluntarily, I have you arrested and put in jail.
Sure.
And I make sure you get the treatment, because we know where you are every day. Every time we have a treatment, calling, you're right where we can put our hands on you.
And are those courts still going on today?
Yes. and you're not arrested. There's no arrest record. You're just taken into custody for contempt of court for failure to obey the lawful order of a court.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious to know that back when you were a judge, and even before then, there were a lot of civil rights type of activities going on, and I know that Palm Beach County was a little bit late in desegregating, and so from you have a very unique perspective of how things have developed over the years and kind of how it developed here in Palm Beach County.
Well, it developed here as it did all over the country, very slowly, very painfully. And as a result of lawsuits, we had lawsuits to desegregate the golf courses and the schools and things. And it took time. We had lawyers like Attorney Holland who sued to desegregate the school system here in Palm Beach County. I think he started his lawsuit probably in the 60s, but nothing happened until the 70s, in spite of the fact that we had Washington Supreme Court saying that it was wrong. And from the 60s, most of the schools did not desegregate here until the 70s.
What did it do to economic development in the community? How did it affect that?
Well, West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County was really a community that had separate but equal economic development. And it was really equal. Mm-hmm. A lot of the community said, well, we're equal, everybody's treated the same. West Palm wasn't. Yeah. West Palm was, and really did that. Most of the black community was located between between Clematis and 23rd Street, and from the railroad to railroad.
Right.
And I guess when I first came here, if I had prognosticated that one day Macy's would be on Rosemary, they would have taken me directly to the mental health center. You got to be out of your mind. Yeah. That'll never happen. Yeah. But now it has happened.
Absolutely.
And we've benefited by some forms of segregation because people who could not go into the stores downtown were forced to deal with the shoemakers and barbers and bars and hospitals and everything. The hospitals were segregated. Good Samaritan Hospital, even if you worked at a hospital, if you got sick or injured, you didn't go to Good Samaritan. They sent you over to St. Mary's.
Yeah. Those are some very insightful comments about desegregation here in Palm Beach County. Let's take a look at a video clip of Attorney Bill Holland.
Imagine being thirsty and not being able to purchase a soft drink simply because of your skin color, or not being able to go to the beach of your choice, or being restricted to certain movie theaters. And just imagine not being able to try on clothes, shoes, or hats in department stores simply because of your skin color. You would have to guess your size and hope that the item fits. Segregation, or the separation of races, existed in America for almost 100 years. Growing up in Live Oak and later Orlando, Florida, William Meredith Holland faced such social injustices daily. As a young child, over and over again, he read the promises of the Constitution, especially the promise of equal protection of the laws. Knowing that he could make life better for all people by helping to change unfair laws, Holland was determined to go to law school. In 1951, he earned a law degree from Boston University and returned to Florida to attack injustices. One injustice involved education. Did you know that at one time in Florida, it was illegal for black and white students to attend the same public or even private schools? While there were laws in southern states which required blacks and whites to be kept apart, segregation was also practiced in the North and across the nation. In the famous case of Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas, Thurgood Marshall and a team of lawyers represented the school children. Marshall and his team won their case. On May 17, 1954, the United States Supreme Court agreed with them that racial segregation in public schools was wrong. 2 years after the Supreme Court's ruling in Brown, Holland and his colleagues, attorneys I.C. Smith and F. Malcolm Cunningham Sr., noted that schools in Palm Beach County were still completely segregated. One of the primary means by which segregation was supported was through the requirement that children attend schools closest to their homes. In the city of West Palm Beach, there was a law that restricted where blacks could live. Imagine being forced to live inside of an imaginary fence. Because of the city's law and the school board's policy, blacks were consistently assigned to attend segregated schools in their neighborhoods.
There was a black school, and there were white schools, and he felt, and I also felt, that the education that was being expended, it was good with the black school. However, there should not be two different school systems, and he felt that he should do something about it.
Holland and his colleagues searched for parents and children to challenge the school board's policies. No one in the black community would come forward. They were fearful of losing their jobs, property, or lives. Holland decided to use his own son, Billy, to challenge the school system. On May 31st, 1956, Mr. and Mrs. Holland requested the school board to organize the school attendance districts so that their child could attend school on a non-segregated basis. The school board did not act on Holland's request. Holland, weighing only about 130 pounds, took his son Billy by the hand in August of that year and tried to enroll at Northborough Elementary School, a school which was attended by white students. He was denied admittance. Armed with the Supreme Court's decision in Brown on September 11, 1956, Holland and his colleagues filed a lawsuit in federal court in Miami, Florida. They wanted the court to order the public school system to desegregate. Although the trial court ruled against him in July 1957, Holland did not give up. He appealed the case to a higher court.
Holland built a new home in there on 17th Street. And what the school board did was to gerrymander the line. Instead of it going down 17th Street, down the middle of the street, they took, when they got to his property line, went south to the alleyway and went around his house and then back out into the street.
7 years after the Brown decision, Holland finally began to see the law at work. A small number of black students began to attend white schools. Holland and his colleagues did not stop in their efforts to desegregate the public schools. For 12 more years, they worked through the court system, tearing down injustices. The road to a desegregated public school system was not an easy one. Along the way, Holland faced death threats and violence. He was ostracized by many in his own community, who feared losing the few gains accomplished. In 1973, almost 2 decades after Holland began, a desegregated school system in Palm Beach County became a reality. Today, there are laws against housing discrimination, public accommodation, and other forms of discrimination. The law is powerful.
Some unintended consequences associated with desegregation, but overall, overwhelmingly, it was a very positive thing.
Oh, it was. It's the only way you can keep a handle on everything. If everything is supposed to be the same, I don't say that you all have to be carbon copies of cookie butter. Sure. Everybody has to be 6 feet tall and good looking and rich. That would be nice, but that's not going to happen. Yeah. But the city itself was a pleasure. I came from Pittsburgh, which had a lot of the same problems and that we had here in West Palm.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so very much. I mean, it's like talking to my dad. Anytime we talk about history, we can talk for a very, very long time, and you have a very interesting perspective on the local history here. And I hope that we can continue this discussion throughout the community. And I really, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today about our history in Palm Beach County. And I look forward to working with you in the community in the near future.
Thank you very much. I still feel as though the best is yet to come.
Absolutely.
As we grow, we're going to learn, and we're going to do away with some of the myths that existed. We're going to find out that there are good and bad people in every form, shape, sex,
Absolutely.
everything. And we will begin to separate the good from the charlatans.